welcome. It's been a long time coming, but this is about the curious case of Ferrari, how it loses lifetime buyers. Many people don't really pay attention to that, but I think it's a valuable lesson to learn for those. I'm into cars, but I'm also into marketing and looking at the branding, and I think this is very important no matter what brand you is to learn how a giant can start taking massive hits the whole entire time and somehow think that they are okay. So first, let's do the most simplest thing, which is most people don't, is that let's be sure to know the situation. A lot of these analytics I did look up, so I'm just going to go into it. When the morals in the car dealerships versus a brand new era in time. Ferrari is about handcrafted high-tech family values, especially in the vehicles. Most buyers are not on Instagram. Most buyers are older. Most buyers are male, but the most fans are between 25 and 33. Most fans are into automotive aftermarket, and there's a huge disconnect there. And the main part about this disconnect that is so scary is that the car dealership. Now, the car dealership, they could have make it a celebration about Ferrari always inviting people there, but that's not how they did it. Umberto Baccioni would have been so disappointed. Futurists would have been so disappointed. But anyways, they are running it just like an art gallery. They have a very modern layout. If you go to one, you'll understand what I mean. They got the photography on the walls, but the salespeople are accustomed to older people buying. They know who actually buy and who are fans. That's a good thing, but it's more of a museum than a celebration, which it should always have people in there. That's what I personally believe. That's what I personally know. That's what I personally think. But you see the difference. You have to see the difference. You got to see this to believe it, which is really odd. But then the new era mentality is about clout and exposure. And considering that most are between 25 and 30, most are on social media. And these other brands, they connect through a younger audience. And these other brands get more exposure through social media due to it being a more convenient price point and a thing of affinity towards these people, towards these groups. And through this, you get more exposure. They get more exposure. Music, hip hop. Most entrepreneurs, they look at Ferrari, they got one, but most people will view as a Lamborghini as a more common, or McLaren, or as GTR, which is way lower than the price point. More status is more of a I made it status than a Ferrari. And so you have this whole entire group of people who are looking at something else rather than a whole nother thing. And they're losing out. I understand that 250 grand, not too many will get there, but also the people that are getting there are young, can still, things happen fast, entrepreneurship happens fast. They can get there more frequently if they really try. But this is how the world is. The world is changing, and you can't go by the same old methodologies anymore. But however, let's go deeper into it. The commercial, the music advertisements, entrepreneurship. Most videos on ad videos show different cars for success. Ty Lopez, Travis Scott, e-com owners. A lot of them talk about Lamborghini first before they even talk about Ferraris. Most people talk about McLarens or GTRs before they start that. And they use these things to promote for their brands of entrepreneurship. And brands have more deeper semiotic values. So, yes, it's all about the symbolism. And these media are target for younger buyers because these younger buyers listen to the music, get these advertisements on their computers, and they want to change their life, and that sets up a huge line of lifetime buyers. Because people mainly get what they're truly exposed to. But then here we go. Standards and morals versus the world. They have a family business and they have traditional values. Particularly, it's ran still like a family business. Their tradition is their innovation, but not innovating the tradition for the modern times. This is a huge mistake. The world has changed its tradition due to the TV on its hands. Now it breaks traditional norms, and people don't really have privacy like they once did. So there is no more surprise. People want to be indoctrinated and integrated inside the process of how things are done. That's hugely important, and the barriers must be taken down to change perception. The more ways to connect with people and representation is through other mediums. The racing games, we're going to be getting into that just quickly. The movies, the art, the fans, and even the buyers. And it comes into this whole entire conundrum of is the traditions just a little bit too much? And is our tradition getting in the way of how we are going to keep ourselves strong, even though we have all of these exposure programs? But everybody knows Formula One is not as exciting as it used to be. Formula E is where it's at now. And it just puts them in a very tight bind because they put themselves in the bind rather than trying to innovate their tradition to fit the times. So we got video games versus Ferrari, but then it goes deeper into that. Well, first the video games. Let's get Need for Speed versus Ferrari. Ferrari doesn't want Need for Speed to customize it. In other words, they don't want kids to look at a Ferrari, tune it, and customize it and set it up for a very long time. They said, "Wow, I played when I see the Ferrari on the street. I played in the video game. Those things are awesome. I want to get one when I'm younger." And most certainly, dreams do turn into reality. But then you got Dead Mouse 5 versus Ferrari on a per Ferrari. And he wanted to customize the way how he did it, and they did not like that. Tradition. I'm not saying to rebel. I'm saying to take a real strong look at the times that we're living in. Our times are completely different. McLaren versus Ferrari and Lambo versus Ferrari. Different price points, different designs, but two of these things have different appeals, but they appeal to more of the younger audience, especially the younger entrepreneurs. And then you got Ford versus Ferrari, which is, even though they've been at each other's throats for a long time, especially when it comes to racing and stuff, Ford has a very different way that it caters to its audience than Ferrari. But then yet again, Ferrari should have taken some plays out of Ford's book during this time and era. And then you got the customization versus Ferrari, which people want to customize them, but then they go into the intellectual property battle. We live in I do not give a F kind of culture. I do what I want kind of culture. That's why these things need to change drastically, or else we're going to be seeing it plummet, guaranteed. I'll have to be a soothsayer because a lot of people don't believe it until it actually happens. So then we go into the moral conflict. The moral conflict is very interesting because the tradition affects the relationship with newer customers. Going up against video games, going up against mediums, going up against customization, and letting the people do what they want destroys the car and artistic meaning of the car, because Ferrari has a manifesto like anybody else. And if they lower the price too much, it devalues the hard work, and the tradition keeps the brand in place. The tradition is everything. And changing the tradition means changing the whole company. Therefore, what would be the solution? Those are things, if you have ran a company and you're trying to figure out how to work it with social media, think about how could you reinvent yourself. Most people, I was taught, one of the things I was taught, because I'm an artist, but I have business smarts too, is very simple thing is, even when you are starting and when you get there, look at how you can reinvent yourself. Most people don't know how to reinvent themselves. Most people do what they do, and that's all they know. No. If you want to stay fresh, you got to reinvent yourself, got to reinvent your character. And that's the main part of survival, is adaptation and growth. At certain points in time, there's nothing wrong with tradition. There's nothing wrong, but the times we're living in has hurt in effect those different traditions where there's no secrecy anymore. People want to be involved and ingrained. That's the part about it that people are not paying attention to. But so what would be the solution? Well, this is my solution. I would say make a lower entry car around 100K. Let this be the most customizable Ferrari ever, so they don't have to care about it. And let the newer car be a part of the entry-level brand and this rebrand program with these entry-level vehicles. And this will be used for a newer target audience. And having a newer rebrand from the lower level can allow for experiment of the traditions, engaging in newer media, engaging in gaming, engaging in movies, engaging in a newer tuner culture, engaging in social media. That's a solution that I would pitch, because you got to readapt and you have to survive. If you're not doing that, then death is imminent. But that's how it has lost. A lot of is losing lifetime buyers. And it's pretty sad to see. But anyways, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me whatever you can give me. But pretty much this is how it's losing. And it's pretty sad to see a Titan starting to take big shots like that. But the world is always full of life and deaths and cycles. But I just want this cycle not to end, but to be a brand newer one. But anyways, Bennytheboxhead from the Othersiderz OS3, and I'm out. Peace. Take care. God bless, and enjoy the rest of your day.